lockdown, but it's
Yeah.
nice. I think it's really fantastic that we're starting to open up again. And, the subject of tonight's thing is about looking at the wins, right?
Yes.
And it's a win.
Yes.
And it's a perfect metaphor for winning. You're not going to get there straight and win off day one. It's a progressive increase in persistence. It's a progressive increase in talent and requirements and commitment that get you to the win. So it's a great metaphor. So it's nice to see that things are opening up again. The pubs are opening up. I went out on the weekend and felt very safe.
Yeah.
I think was probably the biggest concern. And one of the other big concerns was about the staff that were serving me as well. And I had a chat to a couple of people and they said, you know what? They felt safe as well. They felt like it was the right thing to do. They wanted to get back to work. There was some trepidation, of course, but it had all been handled and managed really well. Now, I'm not saying that's the case everywhere, because I'm sure there are going to be some other places which haven't been like that. But for me, from my experience as a customer, for those members of staff, yeah, it was a win, definitely.
Well,
So
I went out today with two of my team members. Same really. I went to Copa in town, and I was a bit apprehensive. I didn't say it to them at first. I said to you, didn't I? But getting there, oh my gosh, it just felt so professional. Saying it, they obviously had all the PPE and the procedures in place, and we had to scan something to say, so there was a track and trace in place, whatever. But yeah, I think, I know it's not going to be for everyone. So if it's not for you, of course not. And I guess it's a question at the moment, really respecting the different opinions and trying not to get into heated too much. For me, I can't be bothered conversations about it. It's just respecting and if you feel safe, do it. If you don't worry about it. Absolutely. But it's nice to go and support, even though that's a chain. It's people at work in Cheltenham. So
yeah, and I think it's really important to understand that you might feel a bit nervous about going to places like that, but the staff are equally feeling a bit nervous as well. Yeah. So cut them some slack.
Yeah,
right. Where it's baby steps. We're all getting back into this as well. Where we're going by the guidelines. Yeah, that's all we can do at the moment.
I liked it because I only had to get up to leave, sat at the table, get my app out. I think it's something, it could be, I hope it's a win in the future for when things are, back to, the way they were, and they will be. Because I hate standing at bars, I said to you. That's the worst part about going out socializing. Oh, now I gotta go and stand up here and you guys all get to have a conversation without me. I feel so left out. No, that's part of going out, isn't it? But no, I like that. I want to go out. When I go out, I want to socialize with my friends and chat. So I hope that's something that can stay in place, really. I think a few places were doing that anyway. Of course, if you go to a restaurant, normally you are, aren't you? But I think that there's things we can really, really learn about anything, isn't it? So that for me is the win.
It's change, and it's interesting you said that. It is about adapting to change.
Yeah, very
much so. Yeah, and again, back to the topic that we're talking about tonight. What's the win? The win is adapting to change, and adapting that change to your favor. That's what winning's about.
Yeah, right? definitely. Because life changes.
I wasn't going to mention it, but
I keep forgetting to wear them.
So the glasses, you want your own table.
Yeah.
Can you put me near the toilet, please? Yeah.
And the exit. The only thing I didn't like, I think there was still someone sat behind me, so I like to see what's going on. I like the wall behind me. No one's gonna creep up.
Yeah, that's a martial artist in you, mate. Definitely.
It is. Safety first. Checking out the area.
Checking out the exits.
The exit strategy. Yeah. Okay. But that's why it's good to go with people. Then you push them in front. You see.
Right.
Even better when you're the master, because in the films the master is at the end. I get to grow my beard and it's okay. I got to work on it. It's but yeah, we're talking about wins, and they're important. I think come across a post earlier, and it was about, well, we get what you focus on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you want to talk about the science?
Yeah, you go for it.
I'll tell you why. So we got a part of our brain called the reticular activated system, which very much keys into the things that we focus on.
Yes.
So this is not mindset woo-woo stuff. This is hard science behind this.
Yeah.
And there's parts of our brain that, they're there from prehistoric days when we needed to understand where the strawberries were, where the good foods were. So we would have a part of our brain which would focus in on those areas that we wanted to look at. So it would then find those areas. And so we know where there was something good happen, some good food or good experience or something like that. So that's how our brains evolved for it. That doesn't go away. And to give you a kind of up-to-date example, if you've ever bought something new, right? And you might have done a bit of research on it, and all of a sudden, say it's a new car, whatever, I want to buy a new Ford Focus. You go, right, okay, that's the one I want. I want a new Ford Focus. All of a sudden, you start seeing Ford Focuses everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your reticular activated system pushing in right there. And it's going, right, I know what you want to focus on. Your unconscious mind has gone, right, this is what we need to focus on. Oh, look, there's one. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. And that's how it goes. You focus on it. So that's why.
Yeah. Well, it's true. And I think, we were talking before we came live, right? You think back on it throughout life, where things that we have focused on. Let's talk about positive things, right? Because that's what this is about. Yeah. Wins, where we've won something, and it could just be, well, it could be anything, can't it?
Yeah.
We win many things, right? And I think sometimes we forget. That's why it's good having a coach. Not to go off too much on it, but it helps you to focus in. And I think I know when I was wanting to be an instructor, and it was a decision. It was like almost like, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do now. I hadn't really crossed my mind much. Maybe it was there at the back. I thought, I wonder what that's like. And it was like, I remember driving home. It's like, no, that's it. I'm doing this. And then I had it in the office. I was like in an office as an engineer, and I would cut out the anything to do it. I'd have it there. It'd be in my drawer. It'd be on my computer. I'd get home. It'd be on the fridge. I'd try and wear that t-shirt. I'd have a t-shirt for training. I'd have a t-shirt I would just wear as like, this is my just normal wearing t-shirt. So it was just always inputting into my brain. And then I think that drove me then to learn what I needed to learn in terms of instructing, because obviously I was already doing that stuff. So
you've hit the nail right on the head about the first step.
Yeah.
And that is decide.
Yeah.
Decide what you want. Decide what you want. And one of the key fundamental tenets of winning something is deciding with clarity what it is you want to achieve. And also, you know where the word decide comes from? So the word decide comes from Latin decide, meaning to cut off. So you're cutting off every other opportunity of thought, every other opportunity of action, because you decided to go down that route and decided what it is you're going to win on.
That's so interesting, because when you put it like that, and I think back, and obviously my mindset training or whatever is very, it's come on loads. So that was probably about 15, 16 years ago, whenever it was. I thought, right, that's what I'm doing. And it was, I cut off any other option. I cut off, right, I'm not being an engineer anymore. I was feeling a bit stuck anyway. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I cut off anything else. I cut off anything that could possibly come in to change that. And I knew I had a lot of work to do, especially on my confidence, stood up public speaking or anything like that. And in fact, even then, I don't think I realized how much wasn't until I actually got doing it. But even with that, I knew that, this is quite difficult, this part, where I now got to talk to a room of whatever, different walks of life and, intelligent people. Not saying that I'm not intelligent, because I'm what I am.
Clearly.
Yeah. But, like people like doctors, and I'm now coaching someone who's quite a high level of academic intellect.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, it can sometimes could throw someone a little bit. So yeah, I totally cut off any other options with it. And that same as what, you know, we all do, right?
Yeah.
And there was just no way. There was nothing was going to stop me from that. And I remember when there was quite a few that wanted to do the same sort of thing, and wasn't ruthless or anything like that. I just thought, right, I just want to get this, and I'm going to do whatever I can. And I felt something inside as like, my gut is like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And I think that drove me even more. It wasn't like, maybe it was psychic powers, maybe it was a bit woo-woo, maybe it was the universe, maybe it was science, maybe it was just, you know, I just damn right believed that that's what I was going to do. And I think
all of your focus was on that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it was almost like, I'll be damned if it doesn't, because I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Yeah. And there's been other times, obviously, since then, and prior to that, but I just didn't understand it the same way. I think when you understand it, the process, you know, those things come, you know, a lot more.
Well, you know the greatest word in the English language, which is associated with failure. No? Try.
Oh, try. Yeah. Try. There is no try. Do or do not. Yeah. And I think Star Wars helped me, Simon. It gave me some great lessons.
Matt, Star Wars helped all of us.
Well, yeah, but not everyone is a Star Wars fan. So if you're watching, you're not into it.
No, but an interesting fact, though. I'll tell you this from an interesting point of view from the work that I do. Try implies failure. If you use it in a linguistic sense, okay, you write anything in the words try, our brain actually interprets it as we're almost going to fail.
Yeah, because I think
the word don't.
Yeah, don't, and maybe,
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'll see how it goes. I think it's to give us that warm feeling that, well, I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a get out of jail card, isn't it? You know,
go. I'll probably offend some people, but I did martial arts once, and I got to brown belt, or I got to this, or I got to that. Depends on, you know, their angle. Oh, okay. So,
yeah,
wasn't for me. Right.
Well, I think we've all heard the phrase probably throughout our childhood and into our adult life, where, oh well, you know, at least you tried.
Yeah. But I suppose
which straight away implies.
Do you know what I'm thinking about? I think, just try your best. Just do your best, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just do your absolute best. Just do the best you can do.
Absolutely.
We get wins along the way anyway.
A win. Do you know what, Matt? A win is whatever you think a win is. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
I've always been a fairly positive person, and all my friends, and you know me, you've known me a long time. I've always been very positive. You know, I could probably lose a leg, and I'd be happy that I'd save 50% on my shoe costs. You know what I mean? But I've always been a very positive, happy person in that respect. I've always looked for the silver lining. Yeah. Always, no matter what.
I think that's so important.
I know some people aren't like that.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because otherwise we start to believe we're unlucky and whatever, and all these things can happen. And it can gets in the head. But there is, I believe there's always something that's going to knock you, right? So we know that. So what's the point in wasting our energy on it, overthinking it too much?
So there's no such thing as failure.
No, there's not.
There's feedback, right?
Yeah.
If you think you failed at something, it's a lesson that you've learned.
I agree.
That's what it is.
I agree. And
always.
And even if it's something that knocks you down or whatever, just get back up.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong.
Again and again and again.
There can be some painful lessons for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It is.
But sometimes they're the greatest teachers.
They are, and they are hard at times, things we've talked about in the past. And but yeah, there's wins along the way. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always a win. I you know, obviously dealing with children and adults, that I'm probably it'd be the same for you, and they might decide, well, I want to do this, I want to go on this goal, and sometimes you'll see on that journey it changes, but it doesn't mean that's a failure, because it just you're just taking a different path, but you're still going towards this. It's like I'm still going to the same mountain, I've just gone a different way, So I'm going to see a different view now. That makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I think the mountain's always a good metaphor. Look back down and see how far you've come.
Do you know, and it is having that perspective on it. And we've talked about this before. Perspective is absolutely everything on the journey that you're taking.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about the lessons that you're learning along the way. And whether this is, you know, I don't want to kind of try and say that because I'm a bit older and a bit wiser, maybe that's what it is. But, you know, it's taken a lot of lessons for me to understand that, for sure, definitely. But I think all the way through, those lessons have been teachers. They've taught me something that I didn't know. Either I didn't know about myself, I didn't know about that kind of situation, I didn't know about somebody else. And what it's done is put me instead and put me in a good position to recognize that in the future.
Yeah.
So, you know, that RAS, that reticular activating system we were talking about before, it sits and goes, right, okay, well, I know that, so we can move away from that if we want to.
Yeah. So what's a good tip then? Because obviously, you know, the whole world has gone through all this at the moment, and it's changing, isn't it? We're slowly coming out of stuff. Is it, me, I think goals are important. So
I'll give you my number one tip for any goals or any win, right? You must state it in the positive.
Yes.
Right? Not what you don't want or what you try to have. No, in the positive. It's got to be a positive. I need to lose half a stone, or, you know, I'm going to try and lose a bit of weight. I'm going to try and eat a bit healthier. No. I will eat healthier 3 times a week. And that's the other thing about wins and goals, is that don't make them massive, you know, make them smaller goals that you can reach, and actually give yourself a really good pat on the back, or give yourself a present for reaching the little win. Because the little wins,
I said that, because there's so many wins, and sometimes we don't have to set goals. You know, if you've got things you're working on, you got to have. We don't have to, but my recommendation is having a reward set up for that, and not just, oh yeah, but it's this. It's like, no, it could be a holiday. It's like, no, I'm actually going to have a night out with my friends, or I'm going to go and do this. Just something is to kind of recognize that fact that, you know, you've completed either that project or, and something I'd say with work, right? So I want to do a bit more with my staff, you know, that a good week, bad week, what we got through the week. Let's hang out for a little bit, and the same for the month and stuff like that, because we get caught up in our loops and stuff. So
totally,
sometimes the win is just getting through, you know.
So that's number one for me. Stay in the positive. Always got to be staying in the positive. Number 2, and this is where a lot of people fall down. Write them down. Goals that are written down are much more likely to succeed than ones that are just bumbling around your head. Write it down in the positive. This is what I want to achieve. And even, you know, and put a time on it as well, a realistic time. Not, I'm going to make, you know, £1 million in the next 2 weeks. You know, there's going to be some difficulty over that. Make them quite achievable. Well, it depends where you're coming from, I suppose, what resources you have. But when you write them down, your brain actually holds them more accountable to you, because you've written them down. You're almost making a contract with your brain to say, this is what I'm going to achieve.
Definitely. Do you know what, as well? Tell loads of people.
Find an accountability partner. Find an accountability partner.
Accountability partner, perfect. I don't know, maybe I annoy people with some of the things I wanted to do, but not that I didn't care, because I don't want to annoy people, but and sometimes it got a bit, oh, you sure? Whatever, okay, no worries, I understand, don't worry. And it just helped me drive forward a little bit with it. Well, because you don't, like, who wants, because you know, I know you said there's no fate, and I if it didn't work out, then it didn't work out, and I would just have to find, I would have learned loads on the way for sure. But I think, you know, just being open, I'm going to do this. Annoy people a bit about it. But do you know what? If people that are cared, they're going to be there supporting you anyway. If someone says, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" I'm fed up with seeing this, because I've seen a little bit of this on other people's things. Oh, what? Getting annoyed about, well, you don't need them in your life, whatever.
Yeah, well, and you know, some of those people can be your biggest cheerleaders, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They're the ones who are going to be clapping you as you cross the finish line for doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So I think share the goals, definitely. And it drives you. It drives you. Of course, yes, you have to write them down. And you said like having a timeline on it, isn't it?
Yeah, very much set a timeline for it. Otherwise, it will never happen. It's just a dream, right? If you don't put a timeline on it, it's just something that's going to happen way off in the future.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well, you know, break them down into, like I said, coming back to those, break them down into achievable goals as well.
Yeah.
Make them achievable. And even if it's, you know, like say somebody wants to exercise a little bit more, well, instead of saying, right, I'm now going to go out, I'm going to run a 5K every morning for 5 days a week. No, do you know what? Run a 5K once a week.
Yeah.
And then once you started running it once a week, up it to twice a week. And you'll find that those little goals, those little we call them stretch goals, right?
Yeah.
They're just enough for a little bit, take you outside of your comfort zone to take you into the next level. And you'll build the habit. And this is the other thing, it's probably 0.3 as well, or 0.4 now. Build that habit in. It becomes habit when you're doing all this kind of stuff.
Well, you take an action, and I think as like with you know, we like to encourage, like, as a win, get just started. If you try something, it's a win straight away. Well, first you decided, that's a win. Now you're setting the goal, and you know, you're going for it, and you're taking that first step. Well, let's say it's a run. It might be only run down the road, but that's still a win. Because sometimes we get in our head, well, I didn't make it, but our brain will kind of play a bit funny with us.
But you know, this is the other thing. I didn't make it now, but that doesn't mean I can't make it tomorrow or in a minute,
another day,
in an hour, or we can't. I think that's the problem as well. I mean, I guess when we're talking about wins, we've got to talk about losses a little bit as well. So when you don't reach the goal, then you know, that's a lot of people just give up. That's not the time to give up. That's the time to look back and go, right, okay, why didn't it work for me?
Well, most of before they get started, don't we? We have
they do.
It's a 5-second rule. So within 5 seconds, we've talked ourselves out of whatever it is we want to do anyway.
Yeah.
Can do. Unless we train it. There's a good book on that. I think it's called The 5-Second Rule, but it's not about eating food off the floor. So, but
that's my 5-second rule, mate. That's fine.
No, they're not losses. That's why it's important to review stuff. And if it didn't quite work out, it's to review why and find out why. And ultimately, it is down to us anyway. And if we're honest, you know, was it the did we set that goal that first bar a bit too high, or did I not put the right effort in? Yeah. For whatever, you know, it's not necessarily about running it can be about anything. So we'll review it regularly, really. And
the other thing as well is it's really good to reflect on when it did work.
Oh yeah.
You know, when it's gone well, why did it go well?
Don't change it when it's working.
that's the bit, but that's the bit that's going to take you to the next level. Yeah. That's the bit that's going to make you go, oh right, this strategy that I'm doing now, whether that's I'm in the right mindset, I've, you know, put my trainers on, you know, put my gym kit out the night before or something, whatever strategy has worked for you getting up and doing it, identify it. You're your best own physician, you know. Physician, heal thyself. That's what they say. But when you know what's going on, you can apply that to almost anything. If you've been motivated to do something in the past, find out why you got motivated by it. And go, do you know what? I know what's going on here. This works for me. This is how I operate. And I can apply that to so many things throughout my life.
Yes. And it's like a recipe. I think I don't know if I said it with you before, but we have like a recipe for a lot of things. And it's even like how you felt, like how what happened with your body. Did you go like this? How were you talking? Were you bouncy? But they're all part of that recipe, because you can use that then for and this this might sidetrack, but recipes can be used for lots of different things.
Yeah. So we call that
the negative one, but
yeah. So we call, I mean, I say we, in a coaching terminology, that's a state change.
Yeah.
So when you get in the right state, so whether that's, you're emotionally positive, you're feeling well, and you know what it is because your whole physiology changes. You don't, if I'm saying, I'm going to be really confident now and my shoulders are really hunched, I'm staring at the floor, that's not confident at all. However, if I put my shoulders back, I raise my chin, raise my head, look people in the eye, that's the actions of a confident person. I may inside not feel confident, but what will happen is the outside will change the inside. And actually, the inside can change the outside as well. That's the beauty of it. Once you've made the decision to make the change. Yeah,
definitely. It's good if you get a move out, which like a power move, and then you don't actually need to physically do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just punch me. So, but we used to as a bit of a joke and get hyped up, and then you kind of
yeah. But so you know what it's like. You do get hyped up, and you can. You're making the adrenaline run in your body.
And that's you. It's contagious.
It's mind over matter. That is exactly mind over matter. That's what it's all about. So so state that change your thinking. Change your thinking, and that changes the body.
Yeah. Actually, going back to like saying about your goal, because if you're excited about it, because it's your goal, all right? It's your journey, whatever you're going to do. And people will join you for that. But that energy you'll put out, it will spread onto someone else.
Hugely.
And so you start helping. In theory, you're like, hey, I'm doing this. Oh, well, I'm doing this, but I'm kind of on a different journey, but it's the same. Oh, that's cool. So I think.
And the beautiful thing is,
share it,
energy feeds energy.
Yeah, right? Definitely. I remember time. Sadly, he's passed away, but a good friend Mark, and it was like he would feed off it. I'd be telling, Mark, I'm gonna do this. And then he would tell me something. So you start. Yeah, it does. It is contagious. I see it in class all the time as well. And when I'm teaching, and someone just gets their energy up a little bit, because I'm probably bouncing around all over the place as well. Or one of the instructors is, and you start to see it just spread. And some people have come in and they just had like a real bit of a whatever day, and their win was turning up. To do some exercise or some martial arts, whatever. And then when they come out, that energy has just gone around the room. So
Jill has just posted a question to us.
Jill
Davis. Hi, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
She says, do you have a method to stop procrastinating and actually get on and achieve your goals?
Yes and no.
You want to go first?
I got good tips.
You want to go first?
Yeah. Well, I think it's having a routine is good. And if you're, I think we talked about this one before, where if you are, like, set yourself a time limit, it might be a good one. So it depends what's your goal, Jill? Drop that in. We can see if we can help. And thank you for question. That's awesome. I like that. I like questions. But set a time limit. So let's say if I'm working at home, I'm easily distracted. And so I will try and say 25 minutes and that's it. Phone down. I'm not going to answer any messages. And it's just a little bit of self-discipline. But the first thing is just to get started on it. And I think I read, it was one of Rob Moore's books. He talks about it. And sometimes you want to do something and you will make, but I'll hoover first, or I'll clean first. Oh, the grass needs cutting. I better do that first. So just stop all that first of all. And even set it in your daily planner. Like that time slot is purely for me working on that goal that I'm working on, and have that, and it's like dedicated. So let's say from before I was instructing as a martial arts, when I was training, Tuesdays, Thursdays, I think it's 7:30, whatever it was, that's when I was training. And my friends knew not even to bother asking, do you want to hang out? It's like, that's when I'm going. So I think just that's one method. Simon, what other tips have you got?
So I've got a couple on this. And actually, you can get overwhelmed by how many tips you can have.
Keep it
to
simple.
deal with procrastinating, and actually then end up procrastinating on the procrastination. So that can feed that as well. But Jill said too much to do and no drive to do it because it's overwhelming. So Jill, you've kind of hit the nail on the head. Is that when we procrastinate about not doing something, it's because there's a pain threshold there about why we're not doing it. However, I will say this: our minds like to keep us safe. So if we're looking at something that you don't want to do, what are you going to get from not doing it? I know that may sound a bit like a oxymoron, but what are you getting when you don't do it? Because that's what your brain will be focusing on. If I don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm getting this. And it could be, I'm getting safety, security, I'm going to be safe in my comfort zone. I'm not doing something. So we tend to pick all these other elements that can throw in the mix just to put it off, right? There's one thing we can do. There's an interesting thing we can do. I always like to talk about putting procrastination off, and we'll procrastinate about procrastinating in a different time slot. So say between 10 and 11 at night, that's when we do our procrastination. But now we'll just get on with it. That's a one way of doing it. Another way is, like you said, something else I do, which is called Pomodoro techniques, which is, Matt, what you were kind of talking about. Set a 20-minute time limit just to do that task. And, our brains like this 20-minute chunks. They like to do a bit of work and then literally do something completely different. Do 20 minutes, set a timer, do that task for 20 minutes, and then go off and do something else.
And you got to stop, haven't you, Simon? Because I would carry on with it. You stop on that 20 minutes. And I was doing 20 minutes, 5-minute break. Yeah. Have a cup of tea. If there was a message, I'll check it. Like emails as well. I don't know if this helps, but it is a lot about time management. But emails, don't ever email me because you might be waiting for a long time to get a reply. And I set, I probably use Facebook most. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn and everything. So I don't always go and check a lot of those messages because it is time consuming, isn't it? So I have a set thing. So sometimes on some of the other platforms, I won't go back for a few days to answer whatever message. So because it will take you away from what you really want to do. Going back to what you said, Simon, like thinking like how you feel. That's a great technique. And then I think, again, we talked about it before, it's the... I call it a Dickens effect, and it's been, goes to Christmas, past, present, future. So the past is whatever you felt, and this is how you're feeling now. But there's kind of two futures. So generally, as humans, we want to move away from a pain towards something that's great. So staying there is going to be quite painful. If you don't put it this way, 18 months from now, you're going to thank yourself for the starting. And if I look at all the videos I've done. I was a bit in and out of it. I look back now, I've probably got, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I've got loads and they're always there now. So I'm so glad I started on that. Yeah. I talked differently then. Probably could understand me less then. I was a lot more but just get started and you'll thank yourself. And like 1%, even if it's just a little bit, like a boat only changes direction 1%, and later on it's a massive change. So I hope that's helped. Does that help? Let us know.
Led me nicely on to my next tip I was going to say about that as well, which is visualize the outcome.
Oh yes.
Right. Our brains are fantastic at creating reality, right? We do it when we open our eyes every morning, but our brains are fantastic at creating a reality, a future that we want to see. So when you put yourself in that positive state of what's it like when you've completed the task, and not just what does it look like, what are you going to feel like? What are you going to see? What are you going to hear? What are you going to taste? What are you going to touch? What are you going to smell? Our bodies and our minds love creating that kind of reality. And if we make it compelling, like we've done the task, we've completed it, and we're in the right mindset, we're feeling fantastic, we feel amazing because we've achieved it. Brilliant. Our brains love that, and our brains focus on that, and that's what they will take us towards. That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's a great
that spot, you know.
That's a great one, and yeah, you definitely do. And again, if I use my example of, you know, coming from an engineer in a small office to now teaching a class of 30 people, it used to be at sometimes, and I used to visualize that happening.
Yeah,
to real think about it, and just a little bounce. And I think it's just find those little, it's things that are going to work for you. I think we said about a power move, and if I was going to go and do a public talk that was outside of my comfort zone, I'm all right with it now. I might have a little bounce on the spot, but sometimes I can do that almost in my head. So I'll be quiet. I'll be my normal. I am quite a quiet person, except in my, you know, small social setting groups. But when it's time for me to go, it's like, boom, bounce comes out, if that makes sense. So you can find the same things, like Simon was saying, is, yeah, have that energy in there and think how you're going to feel, whatever. Have you, Jill, commented what a goal is?
Yeah, she did. I just want to pick up with Claire as well. Claire Baker said about walking a timeline, which is it's kind of like that visualization technique. You know, we put ourselves in the future. But I want to pick up a little bit more on that because it's really, really important. And it's great having that visualization for the future, but actually, and where Claire's coming from as well, when you see a timeline, when you see it stretching out in front of you, you can see the steps that you need to take to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
So you can walk each of those little steps. It's like we said about goal setting, you know, the small stretch goals that we have. Well, that's how you can set your mind. You can focus your mind to do that as well. So yeah, thank you, Claire. Brilliant. Absolutely. Timeline's definitely it. Do the 20-minute rule, Jill.
Simon. I was just
20-minute rule.
Yeah, get yourself in groups, whatever it is you're going for. Find people that have either done that or doing it, because you're going to be on a similar mindset to them. You know, you've got your close friends and family, whatever the goal is. They may be part of that journey. Well, they will be part of the journey anyway, regardless. But I think getting in groups and surround yourself with people that are working on big goals at the moment, almost that they might be a little bit above, because you'll learn so much more from them. It doesn't have to be the same goal. I was saying to Simon before I came on, I just joined another mastermind group on a Thursday evening. It's online, and there's all different walks of life in there. So they've got all different business goals and personal goals. But I just done 2 sessions. I've learned so much from each of them.
Yeah.
And you kind of support each other. Like you said, there's that accountability partner. So just kind of source out people that do the same thing, or just someone that's like, you are already, because you're watching our live. So yeah.
But like you say, you know, like-minded people want the same goal.
Yeah.
You know, they're your greatest cheerleaders. They want you to succeed as much as you want them to succeed as well.
Yes, definitely.
It's great energy. You know, it's not 1 + 1. It's, you know, it equals like 500%, not 200%. You know, it's so much more powerful having a group of like-minded people to deal with it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't feel like you're, you know, even if you're starting out and they could be beyond or at the same. I prefer the ones where they're just a bit beyond, not because I need them to drag me out. It inspires me more, because that's it. Like, if you're running a race, it's better to run against someone that's faster than you, because it's going to push you to be faster. Yeah. Whereas if they're slower than you, you kind of, encourage you to kind of ease back a little bit subconsciously, if that makes sense.
And it's really important to remember that they may be faster than you now, but there was a time when they weren't.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was a time when somebody was faster than them, and they looked up to them. Definitely. And there's a great comment which says, "Genius leaves clues."
Yeah.
Okay. So look to the people. And this is something I always say: if you want to model excellence, look for people who are excellent at what they do, because there will be clues in the way that they've got to where they are at the moment. And, you know, there is an element of natural talent to that, but I also think there's an element of focus and work that you can do, and you can see the things that they've done, because the other thing, they've done something that has probably failed 40 times that they've learned from, which you can then learn without having to fail 40 times. You can go, right, okay, that's an excellent way of doing that. I'm going to try that instead. And it might work for you and it might not. But if it does, brilliant. You haven't had to go through the pain of it. This is why I love reading, right? Because what you're doing, you're taking on information that somebody else has researched and spent probably thousands of an hour condensing into a book. They've done the research for you.
Yes.
Read the book, read their book. And then you get a little bit of information that we're giving out on a Facebook Live now. So you don't have to read the book now. We're telling you this now.
But books are good.
Books are great.
Yeah, because I like listening to the different ones, and I don't always take it in. It's nice on my walk to when I used to walk to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll just pick up on that. Sorry, I forgot you were going to say about what Jill's goal was. Is it on there? Or?
Sorry, yeah, Jill. Jill just wanted to do a lot more and not have any. Right, too much to do and no drive to do it because it's just overwhelming. Okay.
All right.
So but the 20 minutes will really help, Jill. Definitely.
Yeah. Just
state what you want to do in the positive.
Yeah.
That's I can't tell you how powerful that is. Positivity will beat negativity on every trim.
I think, forgive me, Jill, because I don't know you, but sometimes we can make ourselves feel like we're overwhelmed. And it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So you got to allow yourself some rest days, and like we've been saying, really have those, the little wins there. But anything if it's just a goal that's new or you're part of the way through, it feels like that. But just keep moving forward. And even with things I've done, there were days when oh my God, I'm exhausted. I really need a bit of a break from this right now, and just take that time out for yourself. So, it's Paul Holbrook's book, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Diary Detox.
Diary Detox. I recommend it. Diary Detox. I think you get it on Amazon, and it is all about managing out what tasks are. When you're doing a task, is it important? Does it need to be done right now? And it gives quite a good method for sorting that out, really, doesn't it, Simon?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing as well is that it's always good to have, a lot of people can a lot of list makers can have a list, and they'll have 20 things on there, and then they'll think, well, because I've made a list, I'm a bit more organized, but actually 20 is too much.
Yeah.
It's better to have a list of 3 and do
three.
Have a list of 3 and do them.
Yeah.
And then have a list of another 3 and then do them.
Yeah.
That will stop that overwhelm.
Yeah, have the big list, but you put that aside, and that's what you're going to work off. But you pick 3 for that day, 3 things that are most important for you for that day. And if you get them done, great. Then you can go to one of the other ones or have a bit of a chill out.
Sorry, Jill's just said her lists are too long.
Yeah, don't worry.
Shorter list.
Our lists are long.
Shorter list.
And do you know what? I never used to get included. I never used to bother with these group things or whatever and find out. And when I did, I just learned so much more as well. See, like me doing this video, me and Simon doing this video, and then a podcast. I thought, it's going to take ages. What? I got to now record it onto audio, and then I got to type it all out. And I found out you could just do that in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, but you didn't.
About thinking smart sometimes and getting into different groups. Maybe.
But
Simon,
you didn't know until you found out, right? You didn't know what you didn't know.
Like, what? So all that time, people are writing books, they weren't actually writing them. Oh man, mind blown.
But they put their name on it, and that was it. Yeah.
You can go on Fiverr.com. You can get a ghostwriter. I'm going right off on one now. But again, this is talking to myself right now. I got to get more outsource a lot more work, and just it takes some of that time away. But starting out on something, you can't always do that. So
yeah, but again,
giving it, is it lots of hats? That's when my hairs come out.
Yeah, but Matt, you're changing those hats too quick, mate. But funny enough, this really comes back to something we've talked about before as well. Everyone gets the same 24 hours in the day. It's what it's what you do with it that's the important thing. Yeah. And those 24 hours are absolutely precious. So really make the most of it, make best use of it.
Enjoy
and if that means,
process.
Yeah, enjoy it. Yeah, we do. We don't know what's going to go on. We don't know what's coming around the corner. We honestly don't,
So should we check in on Jill in a month's time? Should we hold you accountable, Jill?
Yeah, I think in months' time we'll get Jill on.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
You can join us.
Not now, Jill. Thanks for commenting. No one will ever comment again. But it might push you. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's great. Great questions. Really good questions.
Yeah,
I hope we helped.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Definitely hope we helped. Brilliant. Cool.
I've had a long show this evening, Simon. So to finish up, obviously for the wins, you've got to set a goal, really. But sometimes it's about reflection. Wins are about reflection and looking at what coming out, whether it be for the lockdown. We know it's been a strange year. So it's about asking the right question. If you want to look back and think, well, what's good to come out of it? Like for me, been crap for my business, but that's not everything for me. I've had that time I've had a lot more time with my children, been fantastic. So that they've been with me like half and half. So they've had good quality time with their mum, and then they've had good quality time with me. So we've all been winners in that, really. And I've learned a lot about Zoom. Yeah, so there's been a lot of good, and it's looking back and looking forward. I'm excited because where it hasn't been, obviously if I'm talking about my point of view with the business, naturally it's knocked it. But I'm so excited about what I want to do next with it as well. So it was almost like, come on, let me get back open. So,
yeah, and the other thing as well, Matt, you've learned that if something like this happened again, you've got experience of what went on. You've got experience of the process, what you needed to do, what's worked really well for you, what hasn't worked well for you. That's all experience that you've got, right?
But funny enough, you saying that, because when it happened, and we're going to close, I just thought, well, I've built this from nothing, so I can do it again.
Yeah.
And I've been broke, and I had to, I took a big pay cut initially from engineering to becoming when I went into a brand new school with no members as an instructor, then again to move to Cheltenham and build a new school, and then again when I bought the location out. So money. I remember being so broke and not even eating properly at some times, but I was so determined. Like being hungry makes you drive things forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I've been there before. Not that I want to be there again, but I know, my skill set's obviously much better, and I know what I got to do for it. I didn't even have social media when we did it. I just go out of town and just write hello.
Flyers.
Yeah, wasn't even that time, and I did not bother with the flyers. I just stopped and spoke to people. Totally outside my comfort zone. And we built the Cheltenham place up. My children's mum was working with me then, and we built that up in about nine months. We had 200 members. So if you got to do it, you'll do it.
You'll do it.
Sometimes pressure's good, I think. Sometimes, but it's easy. Well, it's not easy said and done because I've done it, but it's not. I understand it's a big. It's risky and it's all that, but you find a way through, and you get to what you want to get to. But you just got to set the goal, take action, review it, and if it's not working, change that approach a little bit. That was one of the first things my instructor, friend, and former boss drummed into me.
It's life's a learning curve, right?
Yeah,
it's all a learning curve. Definitely.
Yeah, enjoy the process, because even it will work out, by the way, but if something changed, you would have learned a lot, and it changed something better for you anyway. So yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Thank you, mate.
All right, thank you, everyone. Well, I've enjoyed tonight, so we'll be back next month. We missed last month,
did we?
Yeah. I know, totally lost on time and space. Thank you, everyone that's commented. Of course, if you've got something from it, still comment if you watch it on a record, because we'll come back to it and share. Definitely.
And also as well, if there's anything else, if there's stuff you particularly want us to have a look at and talk about, drop in the comments. We're more than happy to give you our experience and whatnot, and our take on it, our opinion on it. definitely.
Definitely, and can be about mindset, setting goals. Even if we talked about it, mental health, which was your mental health first aider, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So anything like that, yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
Lovely. Thanks everyone for watching.
Have a good evening. Bye. Stop recording.